The voice of student athletics, the Open Mic Broadcast Network.
Again, good morning to everyone. This is Andrew Roberts, the Assistant Commissioner of Media Relations with the Southwestern Athletic Conference. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome all of our media members and our coaches onto the call. We thank you each week for your participation in this weekly Coaches Teleconference. Here we will now run down the scores from September 21st in Southwestern Athletic Conference football action. Arkansas Pine Bluff got a big road win over Tennessee State. They won by a score of 37-31. Stanford over Alabama A&M by a score of 55-21. Alcorn State over Prairie View A&M by a score of 45-41. Alabama State defeated Grambling State at home by a score of 23-20. Florida A&M defeated Southern by a score of 27-21. Bethune Cookman had a road win over Mississippi Valley State by a score of 22-6. Alcorn State's Felix Harper, Solomon Muhammad, Corey McCullough, along with Arkansas Pine Bluff's Harry Ballard III, have been named Southwestern Athletic Conference Football Players of the Week for Week 4 of the season with outstanding play, as announced today. With that being said, we will now begin with our coaches, starting with Coach Maynor with Alabama A&M. Do we have Coach Maynor on the line?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Hey, good morning, Coach. Thank you so much for taking some time to join us. Coach, if you would please recap your team's last outing at Sanford.
We went up to Sanford. We knew they was a good football program. They've been in the playoffs just about every year. Last time they was in there in 2017. Which does a great job all aspects of the game, special teams, defense, and offense. And we was in the game 14-17 right before the half, and they scored and made it 14-17. We took the ball, drove right down to the 13-yard line, and threw an interception. The ball got batted up in the air, and they intercepted and ran it all the way back for a touchdown. And we got the ball back and went 3 and out, and they got it back and scored again right before the half and kind of separated the score right there, 31-14 before the half, and we had a great opportunity to take the lead before half. So, and then the game just got away from us there in the second half. We had a touchdown and got reviewed, and the review came back for a progress and stop, which a guy ran the guy over and scored in the end zone. So, anyway, that would cut it to 2 scores and here or there, and they outplayed us in the second half and more plays than we did, and so we got some work to do, and we don't mind doing it. We got a lot more games. We got 8 games left, and we got the conference, so we'll be ready next week.
Coach Maynor, Donald Ware with Box to Row. How you doing?
Good, Donald. How you doing?
Pretty good. The play that you just spoke about with the review, can you tell me what you saw real time and then ultimately what you saw in film before progress?
Yeah. About the 3, Donald, and Gary Coors was in running back. He hit the first guy, kept going, then he hit another guy and kept going. Then he reached out and put the ball over the goal line. So he basically ran over 2 people. And so all touchdowns are reviewed. So it goes up to the review box. You come back down and they say, no touchdown, his forward progress has stopped. I'm like, what? What are you talking about, his forward progress has stopped? The replay was supposed to be did he score or not was his forward progress stopped. And that's a call that you make on the field. You say his forward progress stopped, that's why you didn't give him a touchdown. So it was just, that would have put it to a 15-point game, Donald. 2 scores out, and in the third quarter. So it was a huge play in the football game, and we wound up not scoring because, of course, we went for it again and didn't get it. So that's what happened.
Yeah. Did you get an explanation as to why they, why they decided to go with that aspect of the review as opposed to what you were originally supposed to review?
Well, I asked him that after the next punt or after the next score, because they wouldn't come over and talk to me. They told me to take a timeout. and I didn't want to take a timeout. So they didn't talk to me then. I tried to call the head guy over to talk to him, and he wouldn't come. He said, you got to take a timeout. And I'm already down, so I need my timeout. So I didn't take a timeout. Then when I got a chance to talk to him, he said, the replay said it was for a progress stop. I was like, how did the replay say for a progress stop? What they was replaying was it a touchdown or not? Did he cross the line? He crossed the line clear as day because y'all said touchdown. They called touchdown on the field, So it was just supposed to be a matter of fact, was he crossed the line or not? And he did. And they come back and say it's for a progress stop. I'm like, are you serious? He ran over 2 people.
Coach Boehner, how you doing this morning?
Great. How you doing?
This is Charles Edmond from WPRL. Let's talk about your team. I mean, you got off to a good start, obviously, against Morehouse, and then UAPB is kind of up and down. Talk about the importance of trying to stress consistency with your ball club.
Right, that is very important. I was just thinking the same thing. We win one, lose one, win one, lose one. You average is grit. You're 500. So you got to find a way to play more consistently for 4 quarters each week. We can't live on last week's or first quarter performance or second quarter performance. You got to do it for 4 quarters, then you got to get ready to do it again the next week. So we need to keep the streak going because we're on another win week this week. Hopefully we can get the win, and then we'll start our conference run, and that's when the season really starts with Texas Southern and Grambling, Alabama State, Southern, Jackson, Alcorn, and Mississippi State. So we got a tough stretch run coming up. We need to get this victory this week, and then get ready for a tough and new improved Texas Southern, and of course Grambling is always good, and Alabama State is good, and Southern is good, Jackson is good, Alcorn is good. So Mississippi Valley is good, much improved, So it's going to be tough from here on out. We got to get this win this week and then roll up our sleeves and get ready to fight.
What's the difference in where your team is now compared to where it could be? Is it minor things or major things, just some things you need to clean up in terms of where you are now in terms of where you could be?
Well, to be honest with you, I think Arkansas Pine Bluff, they scored the first possession. We never slowed them down, That game, they was prepared, man. They wanted it better than we did, I think, and we maybe, I don't know, we just wasn't ready to play, I guess, and you got to take your hats off to the coach. He's doing a great job down there, man. But Morehouse, we beat those guys. North Alabama, we beat those guys. Sanford, we had opportunity, man. We had opportunity right before the half to take the lead, let those guys know that we're here, we for real, and we let it slip away with that pick 6, and the game kind of got away from us right there. So we right there. We don't have a bad football team. We got to learn how to execute at the right time, man. And when that pressure get there, you got to make plays, continue to do what you was doing, And we're not far off. We're not far off. We'll be competitive. We'll be competitive and have a chance to win every game we play.
Maynard, just taking a little bit deeper dive into your upcoming game, can you preview your matchup at home with Central State?
Yes, it's a home game for us, but we're going to Mobile and make it a little classic. So we look forward to that, going up to Mobile this week and get a chance to play. And that helps our recruiting when we play at Mobile all around Alabama. We've been in Stanford. We've been to Birmingham last week and then Florence the week before, and now we're going to Mobile. So we get to put our product on the road and showcase it around the state, help out in recruiting. But Central State, Ohio, Coach Pearl is he got some Alabama A&M ties where he coached here before, and so he know us, and he's a good football coach, and he have his team prepared, man. They're one of the better D2 teams, so we have to play well. If not, we could get upset very easily.
This is Mike Wallace with Grind City Media up in Memphis. I wanted to go back to an earlier game. You guys faced Arkansas Pine Bluff. I'm doing a sort of a piece on them and sort of how they've emerged as one of the more surprising teams. What do you remember from that game in terms of their biggest turnaround from what you saw in that team last year?
They always had a good offense. Last year we just happened to play an excellent game on defense and shut them down, but our coaches was worried about that offense, that quarterback, that wide receiver, and the things they were doing on offense. But defense just played great and was able to shut them out at their place. We definitely didn't expect that last year. And now they got it together. They got to add a couple more pieces, another running back, another wide receiver. But the biggest thing I think is they got confidence. They played very well against TCU earlier, and I think that gave them a lot of confidence. And then they came in and got up on us and kept scoring, and their confidence haven't wavered. I think the biggest thing, and when you're trying to turn a program around, you got to get your players to buy in. I think those guys have bought in, and they're doing well, and they're successful. And so that's the most important thing for Coach with his team. They believe, and they're gonna be tough. They're gonna be tough to beat, man. They playing very well.
Mcnair, as always, we appreciate the time, sir. Look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We'll now move to our adjusted schedule, and we will be joined by Prairie View A&M Coach Eric Dooley. Do we have Coach Dooley on the line?
Good morning. I'm here.
Hey, good morning, Coach. Coach, if you could please just give us an opening statement about your team's last outing against Alcorn State.
We knew we were going down to face a team that was a huge challenge for us. You're talking about a team that's been in the SWAC championship game over the last 5 years, and a team that just won it last year. So we knew it was going to be a challenge for us, but more importantly, we knew that the environment was going to be a little different as well. But I have to take my hats off to players. They accepted the challenge. We went down there and we fought for 60 minutes. Unfortunately, we came up short end of the deal. Alcorn was able to get a late drive in the game and sustain it and get the winning touchdown, with leaving us no time on the clock, making the adjustments. But it's a hard-fought battle, which we expected, because I know Mcnair is going to have his guys geared up and ready to play football. Unfortunately, we came out under the bad end of the stick, but my players fought hard, and they fought for 60 minutes.
Good morning, Coach. This is Mike Prince. How you doing today?
Good morning. How are you?
All right. A tough loss at the reservation, but a surprising approach by the Panthers. More runs than touches, or passes, I should say, and Dwayne Tucker in particular with 22 touches. Was that the necessary adjustment, or what led to that decision during that game?
We don't know. Our adjustments are we're going to go and we're going to do what's going to benefit us to our play. We consider ourselves to be a balanced offense. So happen, of course, there's some things that are happening good for you in the run game. You want to continue to work with that those type plays. But I mean, we have no game plan where we go in and say that we want to throw it more or we want to run it more. We feel that we have a balanced attack. We have enough athletes to spread the ball around. So we just go in with an open mind with our game plan.
Okay, Coach, leading into this State Fair Classic, of course, it is a huge game, but two wounded soldiers walking into battle, you and Grambling. The importance of this game, and what are going to be some of the key factors that you need to be standing in the victory circle?
I wouldn't say wounded soldiers. I would say that it's two teams that are hungry for a victory right now because they haven't tasted it in a while, but it's going to be a hard-fought game once again. The records indicate one thing, but for us, the two teams look for two good football teams to play. But for us to be on the victory side of it, which we got to cut down on the penalties, I believe, and continue to execute on both sides of the ball and be able to sustain drive it as well as get off the field when it's defense.
Now, Coach, you just brought up the penalties, and it's been a common theme thus far. 18, 11, 13, and then 12 this past week. And we talked about, or use it at least, to discipline or lack of self-control. You said that you didn't think that would be a problem. What would you attribute to the penalties being at such a rampant pace at this time?
You know, with us being a fast-paced team on both sides, things take place. A lot of things can go this way or that way when you look at the penalties, but the penalties really wasn't deciding factor when you're talking about we had 12 and they had 10, so it was a physical football game and some things took place. But for us, the discipline side, we're going to remain disciplined. I'd say discipline, and I'm using it in a different way because of the things we need to do to be successful. But for us, the team being disciplined and ready to play, that's not an issue. We just got to cut down to that. Those are MAs to us, mistakes, so we got to get that part corrected.
Okay, Coach, and also
scoring 41 points. In most cases, you end up winning more than you would lose on that. What do you see that you would have to do on the defensive side of things to help bring about an edge in some of these shootouts?
We're going to have to be able to get off the field on third down. You know, we can't create any situations where they can continue drives, and we just got to continue to hop on the tackling and make sure that we do the run game. There's no question about that. Those are some of the things that we know it's not a definite. We just got to do it. So those things we look forward for this game for us to be successful, to continue to have a better third down situation defensive-wise and create some turnovers.
What is the status of Juice Parker and Stubblefield and other personnel as you get ready for this game, this big game?
Right now, we know that Juice is going to be held for a while. Hopefully, we'll get some information on Stubblefield this week here with the concerns of he will be available to play. But I'll get that issue once I get back. Unfortunately, right now, I'm out of town at the State Fair Classic for a press conference.
Okay, thank you, Coach, and good luck to you, sir.
Hey, Coach Dooley, how you doing? This is Charles Edmond from WPRL.
Doing well. How are you, Charles?
I'm doing pretty good. Talk about, I know last week you were prepared for Noah Johnson, the starter quarterback for Felix Harper, obviously got the start play the whole way. Talk about what you saw in him and for 280 yards. Had him a couple of times defensively, and he got away and able to make some plays. Just talk about what you saw from the lefty Felix Harper Saturday.
Tell you what, they got another good quarterback that's on the rise, and it's always a luxury to have when you know you have a Noah Johnson that that can play and played in some big games and won some big games for you. But to have a guy of that magnitude behind Noah Johnson that helps out the Braves, I'm pretty sure Coach Mcnair is pleased in that. I thought the kid was paused. I thought the kid just stepped in and did what they expected him to do.
And Coach, from your standpoint, scored over 40 points with 4 turnovers. How much of a difference was that in the ball game? The first play of the game was an interception. A kick was thrown in the end zone. You had over 500 yards of offense, 508, 4 turnovers, and you had 40 points. How tough is that to deal with, knowing that on the stats you did everything but in the game?
That's extremely tough. You know, I keep going over and over and looking at it. You know, normally when you have that many turnovers, it's pretty much a blowout. So now I that down. Now we just got to, no doubt in my mind, we got to execute better. We execute better. You know, we should be looking forward to a different outcome.
What do you see in Grambling, Coach, a team that lost 23-20 to Alabama State? Obviously a different Grambling team with Hick Botham at quarterback. They had opportunities there against Bama State. What do you see in this Grambling team in 2019?
Well, you know, the one thing I do know about it, you know, they was once champions, and I know the pedigree of the coaching staff that's there and some of the players that's there. You know, unfortunately, they haven't had a successful season thus far, but I know that they the game that they feel they must have. So, you know, kind of like both of us, our back is against the wall. We got to come out fighting. So I look for a hard-fought contest. A contest going to be played to extremely high level. So, you know, the record doesn't indicate how well the football team is doing. So, look for a hard-fought battle as well as for us as well. We have to get into that. Both of us searching to get into that W column.
Hey, Coach Dooley, Luke Williams from the Black Collar Sports Page. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Luke?
Okay. Of those 12 penalties they called on you, which ones were the most frustrating for you? I mean, is it like most coaches, the dead ball foul?
No, I'll have to say, you know, in that closing drive where we had a pass interference, because that drive there could have made a huge difference. So they had 2 penalty calls on that last drive. That was pretty much frustrating right there.
And Coach Luke Williams, again, how do you assess the picks from Jalen? Was it more of good plays on defense or bad reads on his part?
Well, you know, I must say, you know, when I take a look and down and look at the process, there's some things that we didn't, you know, some bad reads and routes that wasn't ran the correct way. So we know that some things we have to sharpen up execution-wise for us. The position coaches know we have to take a look at those things that we did and the way that they was performed. So right now, we love our chances. just got to continue to fight and just keep chopping at it.
Coach Dooley, as always, we appreciate your time and look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Thanks for having me.
Now go to Alcorn State, where the Braves capped off a very exciting game, defeating Prairie View A&M by a score of 45-41 at home. We'll be joined by head coach Fred Mcnair. Do we have Coach Mcnair on the line?
I'm here.
Good morning, Coach. If you could please just give us an opening statement about your team's big win over Prairie View.
Well, that's about one of the toughest game I've coached in. It was just two good teams just playing as hard as they could to come out with a victory, you know. And I think that we kind of minimized what we had to do in turnovers ratio. I think that Dooley brought an extremely talented team in here to Alcorn to play us, man. And I think those guys, that's a good football team he brought in here, man. And I give them credit where credit due. They played extremely hard. The offense they had was executing at a high motor. Defense, man, I tell you, one guy we couldn't even block hardly, man. I think that guy gave us fits all night. And just credit to those guys, that coaching staff that he got, man. The job that he did preparing those guys for this. It was a hard-fought battle, you know. I think it was we'll make more mistakes, and I think that we capitalized on some of the things that we supposed to. We executed at times, and defense played good in the first quarter. And then we gave up a big play on third down and bunch. Can't let that happen. So overall, I think, you know, our guys came in and played hard. I think the young quarterback came in and did an exceptional job for Noah. He's back up for Noah, so he played very hard and made all the right reads and did things the right way. So now we look at it, we just got to get ready for a good battle team that's going to come in. Coach Dan's going to bring those guys in ready to play. Another high-motor team, man. And so we got our work cut out for us this week, too, as well. So great win for us. It's time to move on to the next opponent, which is Valley. So just got to capitalize on some of the things they're doing and minimize our mistakes that we're doing. So much, it was a great game.
Coach Mcnair, Donald Ware with Boxer Row. How you doing?
Good doing, Donald.
Doing good. Can you know, it seems like you look at, you know, this team, and you've been part of the program for a while, the last 4 or 5 years, you've always had a guy as the backup that's ready to rock and roll. At one time, Noah Johnson was a backup. So can you kind of speak to that and how you have just been able to have these quarterbacks that are backups that can come in and help you win right away?
I think that what we do, Donald, we process these quarterbacks, man. It's a process, and each and every one of them understands it. They understand their role and what they have to be prepared to do when they get in. I had John Gibbs, and he went down. Lenore Footman stepped right on in and kept the ball rolling. Lenore's went down. Boy Johnson stepped right on in and kept the ball rolling. And so now one went down, and here's Felix, young quarterback, got very good talent. Just doing his work, man. And these guys understand, you know, be prepared. It's just one play away, you know. So and Pat doing a great job of coaching these guys up too as well. He do a great job in the classroom with them and making sure they getting all the right things and make sure they read and write the progressions, where the concepts is at, and all that kind of stuff. So he's doing a great job with those quarterbacks, man. I'm happy to have him on board with us.
No question. Did you expect? Did you expect this kind of game from Felix?
It was just a matter of time. I mean, Noah was our starter last year and come in this year as a starter. Knowing that Felix and the kind of athletic kid he is, he throws the ball well. I think sometimes he throws a little bit better than Noah sometimes. So he got good talent, and I expect that of him. He just needs a chance to get on the field, and that was his chance. So, you know, you got a quarterback, you got a starter, you got a backup now that now have to really work during the course of practice, preparing for game day. So that's a good problem to have.
And what's Noah's status moving forward?
Right now, we are still working with him. Once the trainers, I noticed him to practice and stuff like that. Like this morning, got practice this morning, so he's throwing the ball pretty well. So we'll know by the rest of the week of which way we're going to go with that quarterback situation.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Good morning, Coach. This is Mike Prince with the Open Mic Broadcast Network. How are you this morning?
Doing good, Mike.
All right. Look, you made mention in your opening statement to try to minimize some of the things that Valley are going to try to do this weekend. What are some of those things that you've been able to notice in the film room of what Valley is going to try to do and what they've had success in this early in the season?
Offensively, does a real good job offensively, man. I tell you, the offensive line they got is really working. I know Coach got them working hard, and what they're doing is running the ball. And things we have to do is just have to understand what they're doing to try to get us to make mistakes on that side of the ball as well. But they do a good job with the midline. They run the crap out of it. We just got to do a good job of teaching our guys up and teaching our guys up to play and reads and keys. And so we just got to be prepared for a good offensive team that's going to come in here. Defensive-wise, they're playing very, very straining themselves on defense. They're playing very hard. They got a couple of guys that play exceptionally hard. So we got to be prepared for a good team, I think, coming in Valley. Preparation this week is going to be extremely tough for us, and just got to prepare ourselves to play a good Valley team.
All right. Thank you, Coach, and good luck to you, sir.
Mcnair, you spoke about the improvement of Mississippi Valley. Obviously, this season they've been playing really competitive ball games, and although they haven't won a game, they've been right there in these games. What has been the biggest difference that you've noticed from what you've seen on film for them this year as opposed to years past?
I guess the biggest thing is, and some of the things that they do, do it well. And like I said, they don't play some close ball games, and right there on the end of some of them, being able to pull them out, sometimes, we see things that we can exploit in their defense and some of the things that they're doing on offense, but you got to be mindful that, those Danzy raising a young ball club, and that's a competitive ball club. They're going to compete every week, so you have to be able to battle with the competitors of that team. And the things that they do. So they do a lot of things well. We got to be able to make sure we fit in our gaps and doing everything the proper way to come out with this win. So we just got to prepare ourselves for a fight.
And Coach Solomon Muhammad, SWAC Defensive Player of the Week, 18 tackles, 2.5 tackles for loss, and a sack. Talk about his play against Prairie View, if you could.
Well, Solomon, he played an excellent game this week. Me and Coach Thornton was just talking a while ago. And Solomon, one of them guys that like to show up, and Damon Anderson had a great game against McKinney State week prior to this one. I guess Solomon just decided he wasn't going to let Damon outdo him. Solomon came up with a big game, man. I mean, just like Coach Thornton always tells us, if you do everything the right way, I've seen that position. So it's just a matter of him just doing everything that Coach Thornton is teaching him to do. But he's capable of having those kind of games. The thing that he's capable of doing week in and week out. So he prepare himself every week like that. You'll see a different Solomon Muhammad Saturday.
Currently taking questions for Coach Mcnair with Alcorn State. Coach, last question for me. Corey McCullough, SWAC Specialist of the Week. Scored 9 points, a 33-yard field goal, connected on all of his extra point attempts. Also did a really good job on punting and kickoffs. How much did his play this past week, how much was it able to impact the game?
We talk about him all the time, and I talk to Corey all the time about ball placement with kickoffs and punts and all that kind of stuff. And he worked hard every week to get it right. So I think this was one of the games that he did an excellent job on the punts and the kickoffs and extra points and field goals, the whole shebang. I think he was pretty good. He's pretty solid this week. He just continued to work on his craft, and of course we changed the holder. We got a new holder for him, so he's doing an excellent job. And how kickers are, they very unique in their own way, so they have to. Everything got to be lined up just right for kickers. So try to make sure that he's comfortable doing what he's supposed to do, snaps, kick, and holds and everything. So. He's done a great job this week, so that will continue to carry on.
Coach Mcnair, as always, we appreciate your time on the call and look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks.
We'll now go to Arkansas Pine Bluff, where the Golden Lions capped off a huge win this past week over OVC member Tennessee State, defeating them on the road. We'll be joined by head coach Cedric Thomas. Do we have Coach Thomas on the line?
Sure.
Good morning, Coach. Coach, if you would, please just give us a recap and opening statement of your team's big non-conference win over Tennessee State.
Great atmosphere, great opportunity for kids to, get a chance to play against upper echelon programs and not associated with the conference, but got a lot of historical longevity as far as the program. And, we had never beat in school history, so there's a lot of things riding on it. Kids did a great job preparing this week, just making sure that, all I's dotted and T's was crossed. We had some familiarity with each other. Coach Harris and I had worked together, so, he knew who I was and I knew who he was. And the kids, didn't get caught up in that. So got down and started off, pretty fast, getting out there. A decent lead, and just like good football teams do, Tennessee State came running back, got two great athletes on the edge, made a lot of plays for them. Quarterback that's, kind of limping, but, made some big-time throws. And offensively, we got ourselves in the foot, a few times, and once they kind of got it rolling. Second half, we come out flat, and they, up on us. The kids, man, just really a lot of poise. You kind of, start to see the change, and as we say in the culture and the mindset, them believing that they're good enough and never waver, get down, and, defense get a stop, get an offense opportunity. Just got to go 75 with 50 seconds left on the clock, one time out, but we do that every Wednesday. And just see them guys, have the pause and the wherewithal to be able to deal with the adverse situations and conditions to come out and be successful, ultimately that's, the most exciting part for me because, they work well enough, work hard enough, and they deserve it because they're doing the things right. So for them to have success, the community and everybody who scrapped it on, at A&M and, now, UAPB, a part of it. So it's real exciting, for them to be able to get that victory knowing that they, did it the right way, never wavered and believed in the system and to go down and execute. In 75 yards, I don't know how many plays it was in 50 seconds, just a testament of the, changing of the culture, consistently and just foundationally, just something to build off of. So really excited about that, but you don't get a chance to enjoy it too much. You got a good Southern team that's coming in, and we got to be prepared.
Coach Luke Williams from the Black College Sports Page. What's been the biggest thing that you've had to do kind of to get this turned around? Because I think people see these early season wins as a turnaround for you guys.
Just discipline. We say, the same characteristics that's associated with this great game, we got to apply it to life. I'm not worrying about wins and losses in football. It's going to class. Like I, said when I got this job, this place has saved my life. So those same fundamental principles that did it for me. I'm just extension of the coaches that helped me in this institution to give it to these young brothers. So biggest thing is they going to school. You got a 100% success rate in study hall. They out in the community, and the football gods are now starting to bless them for doing it the right way. So we always been tough here. We always been a good football team. It's just now they understand the analytics from that standpoint. They live, sleep, and breathe football. They understand the why behind what we're doing, and that's just been a great opportunity for them to have some success knowing that they're doing all the small things.
And talk a little bit about your two quarterback system. Is that the way it starts out, and you just try to go with whoever is the hotter of the two?
That's pretty much it. Got a great quarterback coach, that does a great job. Coach Gamble, handles that, awesome. I mean, you look at today's football, every other quarterback, is in the portal. And, just to, piggyback on Coach Mack, man, I remember, seeing Felix. We recruited Felix, and to watch him have success, and wait his time and not leave, man, it's just a testament of believing in that of which you're not seeing. And I'm, rooting for him just because of the journey. And here I am, in the same situation with two quarterbacks. And Skyler started off a little, sluggish, and Shannon come in. But them guys root for each other. They compete, the coaches do a great job. Coach Gales and Coach Gamble, but when you look at our film and our practice, every other day, each quarterback, one starts Monday, the next one starts Tuesday, and vice versa. So from an offensive line and schematic standpoint, just the quarterbacks and the voice, the offensive line here all are the same.
And Coach, last question about that is, and so do you alternate who starts from week to week?
No, right now I think we started off with Skylar pretty much all these last 4 games, so we'll keep it as is. We just keep it as is, but the rotation is pretty much series, and then we'll kind of just play it by ear down the stretch.
This is Jim Klein, Peter, the Advocate. Just wanted to ask you about Taylor, and would you say he's off to a slow start, or are you just getting more production out of your other running back?
He's off to a great start. You look at the stretch, the kid missed 3 games last year, yet 100 carries in 3 games, and now you bring a all-conference kid back, off ACL, is playing at a high level. So, production standpoint, he's right where we need him to be. Him and Keyshawn is taking a lot off each other, and just to see him fresh now coming down the stretch is what's allowing us to have some fourth quarter, red zone touchdowns. Where last year, week 5, week 6, he beat up. So he's just as productive when you look at, the volume in which he's carrying the football and catching the football. So he's right where we need him to be.
Talk a little bit about Skylar. He's having a pretty good year. What's the difference for him?
Just, he got a chance to start 8 games last year as a true freshman, and some great D coordinators in this league, and they gave him a bunch of different looks and kind of roughed him up a little bit, and now he kind of got the keys, to understand that he can get in the film room and look at the concepts defensively, what they're trying to do. He's the first one out, with the wide outs doing 7-on-7 and walkthroughs and stuff just from a leadership standpoint, but it helps to have a junior college, transfer that's an older kid, to be in that right with him with Shannon. So, he's, his maturation is through the roof, and Coach Gamble, I can't say enough, of the job he's done from a quarterback tutelage standpoint to get him prepared every week.
All right, Coach, this is Mike Wallace over in Memphis at Grind City Media. Congratulations on a great start to the season. I wanted to ask you, too, about the mental turnaround. You've talked about that week in and week out on this teleconference. This time a year ago, you guys had given up 90 and 62 in back-to-back games. Where was the mentality at that point, and what did you guys do to sort of turn it around and build the confidence that you're playing with right now?
Just push all the chips to the table and say, if you want to be a part of it, then you're going to do things right. We got a lot of kids that wasn't a part of the program that, just didn't want to follow the mission and the vision. And that's school first. We're going to go to school. We're going to go to class. You won't come out and have recess with us. A lot of kids that wanted to have recess but didn't want to go to school. So we had to let those guys go, and we're forced to play some freshmen that we kind of got beat up with, that didn't understand, college football is a tough game. And you're talking about playing Skylar and DeJuan Miller, who's now, big boys out there playing with, on the college level. But they was freshmen, taking some bruises. Mark Evans, true left tackle, freshman starter. And those guys got a chance to play right off, but it was some guys that was on the roster that, just didn't want to do it the right way. So we had to go in a different direction with them and take our bumps and bruises with some of the babies. And now the babies are big boys. So that was the biggest thing, is understanding that our mission and vision is education first. We're going to teach them how to learn approach from the classroom, and then we're going to get out on the field and have some fun and run around. And the ones who, that did it, they're reaping the benefits now. And the ones that didn't, they kind of, hearing about it. So that's been the biggest thing, is them believing that they're good enough, and knowing that, hey, where I come from, you don't work no different. It's just the mindset. Those guys where I came from believe no matter what the score is or who they playing, going to win. And I ask them all the time, do you believe you're good enough? I can look them in the eye now and honestly believe that they think they do. They got every right to.
Just a quick follow-up to that, too. How does this shift go where now you guys have a nice little home stretch coming up? You play them one at a time, obviously, with Southern up first, but how do you shift from sort of, sneaking up on some teams, so to speak, for lack of a better term, to now playing with that level of expectation that you could really do something special this year?
Well, for us, it's just the field house. It's everything in the building. We rarely pay attention to others because, this whole journey for us has been about ourselves. We had to do a whole lot of in-house cleaning. So everybody on the schedule can beat us, and everybody on the schedule can be beat. Our deal is we just got to understand why we got to where we are And that's doing things right, coming out, having fun, and being prepared, knowing what's the why behind the X's and O's. And if we do that and we lose because they better, we can live with it. We can't have, personal fouls. We can't jump off sides. We can't have false starts. We can't start, Coach Gale's first and 20 like we did, the first couple of drives. We got to be able to tackle the ball in space. Got to be have great eye discipline on the back end, and we got to fit our gaps up. We got to play hard and run around and be physical. And if we do that, have a Adderall focus, the outcome will take care of itself.
Thanks, Coach. I have one more question. Just give me your scouting report on what you expect from Southern.
Physical, down here ball club, gonna give you a lot of 20 personnel, 11 personnel. It's gonna be real physical. Coach want to pose his will on you, from an offensive standpoint. And get down here with some penny pulls, some power stuff. Got an athletic quarterback, man, that's physical, can run it, can throw it. Won, multiple championships in a great, state, with a bunch of players. So we got our hands full there defensively, a lot of movement. Big physical up front, with some guys on the back end, they can run around and cover. So, our hands full, so we got to make sure we prepared and have a good mindset to be able to come in and play the defending, Western Conference champs. I'm excited about them having an opportunity to see where they at. For us, it's still new for us. I want to see each day I get a chance to get them out and learn them a lot more, and they learn about themselves. Just kind of entails the journey and the foundation where we building. So we just got to have our I's dotted and T's crossed and get ready for a hell of a football team that's coming in here.
Coach Thomas, as always, we appreciate your time on the call. We look forward to speaking with you again next week. We now go to Grambling State, where the Tigers dropped a 23-20 decision at Alabama State this past week. We'll be joined by head coach Broderick Fobbs. Do we have Coach Fobbs on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Good morning, Coach. Coach, if you would please give us a recap of your team's last outing at Alabama State.
I'll tell you, it's a really good atmosphere for football, there in Montgomery. Coach Hill did an awesome job having his team ready to play. Really hard-fought football game. Made a lot of mistakes early. We were kind of way out of one of them, but, it was just too many to overcome. I thought that they did a really good job of running the football and then also throwing the football more so. And they completed, a lot of those plays. So it's a tough ball game. Missed a couple field goals, but that's part of it. You got to make those, but take nothing away from them. They did a really good job.
Coach Fobbs, if you could please preview your upcoming matchup with Prairie View at the State Fair Classic.
Well, I tell you, playing against a really talented ball club, very, very exceptional skill guys, receivers, running backs, quarterbacks, defensive backs, and defensive ends that can rush the passer. Coach Dooley does an exceptional job of recruiting and having his guys ready to play, and he's scored a lot of points, and they've been in every game and had an opportunity to win it. And just so happen to play here, play there at the end of the game, that they haven't won the last two. But, it's going to be a great atmosphere, great place to play, here in Dallas, Texas, and in the Cotton Bowl, and a great venue, experience for our kids, and a great opportunity, to play college football.
Good morning, Coach Fobbs. This is Mike Prince with the Open Mic Broadcast Network. How are you today, sir?
Good, Mike. How are you doing?
I'm doing real good. Look, this has always been a critical game as far as the West unfolding. And what are some of the positive things that you're bringing in with your squad that you feel comfortable in facing the Panthers this week in Dallas?
Well, I think we're in a little bit different situation. We got a lot of young kids playing for us at certain spots, and a lot of times little immaturity steps in, and that's something that we're working on and working through. But they have to understand that it's their opportunity to make those plays. They for so long they've been sitting and watching other guys make plays, and it's up to them to make those plays. So we just have to understand that there is no other guys. You got to make the play, and it's a huge ball game, huge football contest. just like all of them are huge football contests, especially when you get to this time of the year, mid-season. You know, it's conference season, and you're playing against great football teams and great coaches and disciplined programs, and you know that's what it's all about.
Now, Coach, last year I asked you, and I think you were in agreement that last year was probably one of your better coaching jobs with the situation that you had to deal with and work with. Would you compare that as with this year's assignment?
I would say, we still have a lot of those young kids playing, and they're playing a lot better. But we also got hit. It's part of it. It's part of the game. Next man up type situation. So there's no excuse about it. You got to play the game, and that's just the way it goes. But I'm very, very pleased with our execution from the 20 to the 20. But I'm not pleased with our execution inside the 20, and that's where we've kind of shot ourselves in the foot, whether it's through penalties or making the wrong reads or ill-advised throws or what have you. And that's what we have to do a better job of, as well as tackling.
Yeah, and my final thought, or I should say comment, when you look at the tail of the tape on paper, you and Prairie kind of mirror each other, young teams, but then it comes to the penalties and turnovers. And would it be safe to assume whoever can control and minimize that more than likely has a chance of being the winner?
Well, of course, that's in any ball game. You turn the football over, you don't win. That's just the way it goes. I've never seen a team, very seldom, do you lose so many turnovers and then win the football game. So, of course, that's a major factor. Of course, you got to score points and you got to stop people. But you also have to protect the football. That's what it's about. Last week was out of character for us, 10 penalties. If you look at us in the previous, couple of weeks, one penalty, the Louisiana Tech week and 3 to 5 penalties, I think it was, the first week. So it was out of character for us, but, you never know what you're going to get. You just have to go back to the drawing board and work on it, get after it, and get things corrected.
Thank you very much, Coach.
Thank you.
Coach Bowles, we know you're getting ready there for another press conference, so we do appreciate you taking some time to join us, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Thank you so much.
Now go to Jackson State. The Tigers are coming off a bye week, and we'll be joined by Coach Hendrick. Do we have Coach Hendrick on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Good morning, Coach. Coach, if you could please just kind of give us a recap of you guys' bye week and then preview your upcoming matchup against Kentucky State.
Well, we used last week for a couple of different things. Number one, to get some rest and to heal up because we've had some injuries. Our bye week came. I first looked at the schedule. I thought it was a little too early, but it seemed to be timely for us because of the injuries we suffered early in the season. Hopefully to help us get some guys healed up and ready to come back and play. We used it as also a time for us to look at ourselves, special teams, to hopefully get better in all those areas, and then obviously also look at some young guys to maybe help bolster our depth in our team. So we used it for those three things last week. In terms of the game against Kentucky State, we got a team that likes to run the option, that run the option, runs the belly G option, runs the midline, will throw the ball now and again out of those things. And so it's an offense that usually is a time-consuming and clock-consuming offense, so they kind of limit the possessions that you have on offense. So we've got to do a good job of making sure that we move the ball when we have it, and also that we are really sound defensively in assignment football, taking care of the dive, taking care of the quarterback, taking care of the pitch. And it's a little different than you normally see, so it's a little troubling offense for you because you don't ever see it. So we've been really working diligently, trying to make sure we shore up those areas that when we have to be assignment correct, that we are assignment correct.
Coach Hendry, this is Wilton Jackson from the Cleaning Ledger. How are you? Doing good. I have a question. Based off Punder's play from the game against Tennessee State, would you say he's coming into his own more now, feeling more comfortable with the offense the season comes along, especially going into this game against Kentucky State?
There's no question about it. One thing about football is confidence is a big thing. And I think that the more he plays, the more confident he becomes. He's doing a really good job of executing the offense. He's protecting the football, making the throws he has to make. And even in the game against Tennessee, he made the run he had to make. So I'm really pleased with how he's playing and how he's progressing as a quarterback.
And then also, what I wanted to ask is Kentucky State team, obviously pretty decent offense, but they've been pretty high in their conference on defense statistically. Anything that jumps out to you about their defense?
Well, when you have an offense that holds the ball like they hold it, defense usually gets pretty well rested. And, so it tends to help you be a little bit better on defense because they hold the ball so long. You look up on the clock, you get them stopped. You played against this offense, you look up, they burn 7-8 minutes off the clock, with one drive. So I think that helps them defensively. And then they've got a couple guys on the defense who are pretty decent players. So it tends to help you be better defensively when you can hold the ball like they hold the ball.
Cedric, last time out, Tyson Alexander had a really productive game for you guys. He was named SWAC Newcomer of the Week for play. Can you talk a little bit about what you guys plan to do just to kind of keep that momentum and keep him going?
Well, we're going to keep doing what we've been doing. We've been playing three backs every game. People always ask that question, and I say, well, you have one guy. Tyson had 7 carries. Keyshawn Harper had 9, and Jordan Johnson had 22 carries. So that's 39 carries. Jordan couldn't have carried all that load. He won't make it through the season. So we use the other backs to help keep him rested and help keep him fresh. The other backs happen to be very dynamic guys. So all of those guys were really productive in the last game. I think the lowest yard per carry was 5.9 out of the 3 guys. So you got 3 guys who are productive. You keep on riding the horse that brought you there.
Coach Hendrick, and just looking at the structure of your schedule, you guys started out with 4 straight conference games. After this game against Kentucky State, now be all played from there moving forward. So can you just talk a little bit about what you want to see out of your ball club in this last non-conference game as you get prepared to get into the meat of your SWAC schedule?
Well, improvement. Better and more consistent what you're doing in the 3 areas of football. Especially, I want to see us be more consistent on offense. Making sure we improve our passing percentage. Do a better job of long ball because we haven't been as good as we need to be, in my opinion. Hitting some long balls. We did great the first game. The last 2 games we missed some throws that we had wide open receivers that really could have changed the complexion of the football games. Obviously, defensively, we need to shore up the things that we were allowed to get out on us previous 2 games. And, and I think we will shore those things up. And then in the kicking game, the things that we need to fix, we could fix. We've been okay in the return game, but we need to be better in the coverage game. We get those things we need them to be. I think we'll be all right as time goes forward.
Coach, good morning to you. Ty Miller from the Power News Radio Network.
Yes.
As a couple of before their defensive front and weeks ago, he went up to Pittsburgh and upset Robert Morris. What are your thoughts on their defense?
I think their defense is solid. I think they play really hard as a unit. They've got a defensive lineman that makes some plays. They got a linebacker that runs and plays pretty well. And and like I said earlier, they have an offense that helps their defense be better because they take up so much time on the clock holding the football. So while the offense is on the field, the defense is over there resting. So if you can stay fresh, you can play a little bit more dynamically in terms of not playing as many plays on defense just by virtue of what their offense does for them.
And, Coach, speaking of their offense, they have a couple of playmakers. A quarterback, of course, is a playmaker. And running back, quarterback is Myers, and the running back is Sylvie. Your thoughts on him?
Yeah, and don't forget about the receiver. The receiver's pretty doggone good, too.
Yeah,
they got a big
receiver, and they got Powell, the 6'1" receiver. Your thoughts on it about Brett Sylvie, because he's just a guy who moves the pile a lot for them.
There's no question about it. So when you're playing against an offense like that, the first thing that you got to do is make sure they don't get the dive going on you. Because if you can stop the dive, you can limit what they do offense. So you got to do a really good job against that first part of the option to show that the first read is taken care of for them. And obviously, not let the quarterback get out on your neck because he can run and he can hurt you. So those two guys, and then the quarterback does a good job of in their play action game. They get things going, throwing the ball on you. So, and they got a big receiver that can go up and take the ball away from you. So, we've got to make sure that we're ready for those things and do a good job of defending against those guys.
Coach, I know you take the opponent lightly, but in games like this, when you go against a Division I versus Division II matchup, lower-tier teams always get up for these type games. So, are there any conversations with your team about that, being that teams are not to be taken lightly?
No doubt about it. I told them yesterday that a team like this is their Super Bowl. So this needs to be Super Bowl twice for us. So this is our double Super Bowl. So when we go against this team, we need to play like we're trying to win 2 championships. So that's the way they're going to play. So we need to try to play higher than that to overcome the way how hard they're going to play.
Hendrick, as always, we appreciate your time on the call. We look forward to speaking to you again next week.
Thank you. I appreciate the time. Thank you. God bless.
We now go to Mississippi Valley State, where the Delta Devils dropped a 22-6 home decision to Bethune-Cookman. We'll be joined by head coach Dancy. Do we have Coach Dancy on the line? At this time, we'll be joined by Coach Dancy. Coach, if you could please just recap your team's most recent outing at home against Bethune-Cookman.
Oh, man, I thought it was a great atmosphere, great home game, first home game for us. The fans did a great job of coming out and supporting the team, but overall, I thought Coach Sims and his staff did a great job of preparing for us. They came in and did some great things defensively to be able to stop us and slow us down offensively. Thought it was a very, very tough, hard-fought game, physical game all the way, into the last, minute of the game when they scored the last touchdown. Our defense gave up, but overall, I thought it was a well-played game with both teams, but we came up short in the end.
Coach Dancy, how you doing? This is Charles Edmonds from WPRL.
Doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Coach, offensively, a couple of close games. Obviously, Tennessee State and Lamar. I know it was tough sledding offensively. Was it more so Bethune-Cookman, or offensively it was just a tough day?
I think it was more so of us. We got down to the red zone in third quarter to, take to cut it to a 2-point game, and we threw an interception right in the red zone I think it was the plus 20 yard line. We threw an interception right there, and I thought that kind of changed the momentum of things when it came to our offense, and of course the 6 penalties, and all those 6 penalties was false starts. So I thought we took a step backwards when it came to, just the technique and fundamentals, just the fundamentals part of offensively. I think that was probably the most penalized game we played this year, even though it was 6 penalties. And also we gave up 5 sacks, and that was the most we gave up so far this year. So I just thought we took a step backwards offensively, but I don't think it was nothing that they did. I thought it was everything that we did to hurt ourselves.
What's so pleasing about your defense at this point? I mean, Tennessee State, Lamar, and just 22 points against Bethune-Cookman, 13 of those just in the second quarter. So obviously your defense is getting after it. What pleases you about the defense at this point?
Oh, man, just playing together, playing hard, tough football. We ask them all the time, just do your job. We play a one-gap defense, as you can see, and everybody just does their job, and they count on each other, and they communicate well. Just
just great team defense. Even the guys the backups, man, they come in and they're just productive and being consistent and persistent about the little things that it takes to be great on defense.
So on that theme, obviously, you're a Braves team that scored over 40 points against you. Just talk about what you see in the Braves offense, whether it's Noah Johnson or Felix Harper, and then just the rivalry, the Alcorn Valley rivalry, considering you guys are playing a lot better. The Braves with a big win at home last week.
We had a chance to look at them last night, man, and I just think offensively they're very efficient. They don't do a whole lot, but what they do, they're very good at. As you can see, they got a kid in Felix Harper who came in and had a great game, man. We had a chance to see him last year. He came in against us last year, and the way this kid has improved from last year to this year, man, it's just a testament of the great coaches that we have, that they have at Alcorn. And Mcnair, Coach Mcnair is going to have his team ready, man. They're hard playing. They're a hard-nosed football team. Defensively, they're big up front, and they like to stop the run. So we got our hands full this week. But this game means everything to us. We call it our state championship, and it's a state championship for a reason. We win this game. It's an Eastern Conference game. It's also a in-state rivalry game, recruits. It's just a big game for Mississippi Valley State and Alcorn State. So we know what we're up against. We know it's a rivalry game. We know it's an Eastern Conference game, and we're looking to get over the hump this week. So we got to be well prepared for a great football team.
Now, some people, Coach, are surprised at the games that you played, the close games that you had. Obviously, through the first half, it was a close game against Bethune Cookman. Are you surprised that your team is gradually improving at this point in the season?
My surprise, no, because I think, when you try to do it the right way, at the end of the day, bigger than football when it comes to me with these young men, I just tell them, you do good things happen for you. If you do the right things, going to class, doing the right things with study hall and coming out, working hard at practice every day. Not letting football be a burden, because we use up a lot of time when it comes to student athlete, but just making it fun for them every day at practice, but also giving them the game of life as well. So I'm not surprised, because I got a group of young men that work hard. They work extremely hard. They bust their tails, not only on the field but off the field. So I'm not surprised. And it's also just a testament of good coaching and the way the coaches go out and recruit and able to get good players that want to be at Mississippi Valley State. So overall, it's just been okay for us. Of course, we hadn't won a game, but I can see I'm encouraged by what I see week in and week out, the way they perform, the way they go out and compete. They play hard, man. I tell you what, they're gonna play hard. I know that's one thing about us. We're a stingy defense, and offensively we just gotta continue to be more consistent on that side of the ball, and I think it's gonna pick up.
Good morning, Coach. This is Mike Prince from Texas. How are you today?
Doing good, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing real good. Look, you talked about the excitement and the atmosphere when you came home, when you took on Bethune-Cookman. I know you're still looking for that first win. What has the improvement and the new attitude with Valley football, how is that transmitted throughout the campus life?
I think it's been well. Like I said, we haven't won a game yet, but people can see the difference in the program, not only just in the program, but the players that we're bringing in, the recruits, the kids that we're bringing in, the recruits that we brought in this weekend on the sideline. People can see the change, and like I said, Rome wasn't built overnight, so it's gonna take a little time. But right now, I think we're on the right track. We're bringing in the right kids, and like I said, it takes the right kid to want to be here at Mississippi Valley State to play football and want to continue his education. So I think if we can just stay on that track, I think we're heading in the right direction with this program, and people can see it, so they want to come out and see. They want to see the product, and we just got to put it together for 60 minutes and show them that. Man, this is a program that's turning over a new leaf, and just continue to support us, and you will see the change.
All right, Coach, and my final question for you is going to be a fill in the gap. Valley wins this game if, and the rest is yours.
If we play 60 minutes of football and don't turn the ball over.
Coach, as always, we appreciate your time, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Sir, I appreciate you as well. Thank you.
We'll now go to the adjustments that we made on our schedule. Coach Hill Ely was kind enough to swap his teleconference time with Coach Dooley for Prairie View A&M so that he could attend a press conference. So much thanks to Travis Jerome and Coach Hill Ely for that adjustment. With that being said, Alabama State got a big home win, open conference play at 1-0, defeating Grambling State last week there in Montgomery, and now we'll be joined by Coach Ely. Do we have Coach Ely on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Good morning, Coach. Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement about your team's game against Grambling.
Like I say, it was just a great SWAC contest. Going against a team that has been one of the perennial teams in the conference for the last couple of years, and we knew we had to be sound and not turn the ball over, not have breakdowns in the kicking game. And we had one turnover, had a couple missed field goals, and I think the missed field goals with both teams were the deciding factors in the game. But it was a hard-fought game, back and forth. To win all the way down to the end, we had to secure the ball for 6 minutes on that last drive, which was to eliminate the opportunities for them on the offense because they had been driving the ball down, getting in the red zone, and we were only up a field goal. So it was just good to see the offense to be able to manage the clock and give us a chance to get out of there with a win.
So just looking at the stat line, Davis has played quarterback 19 for 31. 224 yards and a touchdown. You talk a little bit about specifically his play individually.
I mean, in order to even have a chance in this conference, you got to have a trigger. And he's, developed and taken over the leadership role, and being able to throw the football gives us an opportunity. Last year, he played, and I don't think that we were able to run the ball well or throw the ball well. But this year, the guys have matured. He's been able to read the coverages, get the ball to the right guys and have great poise in the pocket. And, and that has really helped us through these last 4 games.
Coach, looking at the defensive statistics from the game, Devin Booker, 10 tackles, 1.5 tackles for loss and a sack. The freshman Ershad Davis still playing tremendous for you guys, 7 tackles, and he had a half tackle for loss and a breakup. Can you talk a little bit about what were some of the positives from those players and also your defensive unit as a whole?
Well, the thing about it is, as you say, you always look at who's leading the team in the tackles. When you're able to have your leader up in that front 7 as a Booker, then that tells me that the gap cancellations and all those things are in the right place. And for him to move from a safety position to a linebacker position, it actually gives us a more of a matchup that we can match up with backs and gives us a more faster guy inside getting off of blocks. And he's really responded to the move. And Ershad, is actually back in Booker's old place, and he's doing a good job of filling those shoes, and it's just good to have both of those guys, on that defensive side together.
Good morning, Coach Ely. Mike Prince with Open Mic Broadcast Network. Congratulations on your win, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right, look, when you look at the stat sheet and you see the 77 yards of total rushing, would you attribute the rushing, I guess we would say minimal, to the Grambling defense, or was it just part of the offense and maybe the guys up front filling assignments on your side?
When you look at that front that Grambling has, they do a good job of canceling out every gap. So it's not you're not going to have big days of just running on them. and they do a great job of getting hits to the ball. They've been doing a great job defensively for years, and you got to be real patient. And that's what we tried to do, is be patient, where we don't get to the point where we're trying to take the big throws or trying to create the big runs, but just take what they was giving us on Saturday. And and 77 yards is a tribute to them being a great defense. And they're real stout across the front, and they do a good job of getting down to the ball.
All right, Coach, and you made mention about the bye week you have coming up. Anybody that's going to need some of this extra rest with this bye week coming up?
Everybody, including the mascot. We got him in the cold.
All right, Coach. Thanks a lot, and enjoy the time and get ready for your next game.
Coach, obviously you made mention, as it's printed on the schedule, you guys have a bye week, but then you'll come back that following week against Alcorn State. Could you preview that matchup a little bit for us?
It's the rest is definitely needed. We've got some guys. We've had a tough 4 games. I think all 4 opponents been in the championship game in the top of the conference for the last 4 or 5 years. So we just took a brutal run. So we got to heal up. And then Alcorn is Alcorn. They the SWAC champs. And when you look at them on film, you can see why. They got a lot of talent in that front 7 on both sides of the ball. Explosive quarterback, as well as running back and receiver. So they have all the parts. And you can just see it coming together defensively. They defend, do a good job of keeping everything in front of them. So, it's not like you're coming off rest and going against a sister of the poor. We gotta rest and work and try to find an edge and whatever advantage we can find by not playing this week. So, we'll be watching a lot of film while we're resting and trying to see if we can find an edge some way. We can find a way to get a victory out of this thing.
Obviously, you made mention facing the SWAC champion, but how big will it be for your program to be able to get them in your own backyard at home?
Anytime you get to fight at home, you know where everything's planted. So, we look forward to that extra day of rest and preparation. But after that ball kicked off, I don't think nobody ever looks up in the stands. It's just each field is 100 yards and 53 1/3 wide. So that home field advantage goes away as soon as the kickoff.
Coach, once again, we appreciate you being flexible with your time slot on the call, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week.
All right, thank you, guys.
We now go to the Southern Jaguars, where the Jags dropped a 27-21 decision in Tallahassee against Florida A&M, and we will be joined by Coach Odoms. Do we have Coach Odoms on the line?
Yes, Coach Odoms here.
Morning, Coach. Coach, if you could please just start us out with an opening statement about your team's last outing at FAMU.
Just another tough start. We didn't get off to a fast start. We dug ourselves a hole. We got behind, which really had to change up the game plan a little bit, get back in the game. Went down. They came out. The quarterback was hitting on all cylinders for FAM and threw the ball really well. We was able to get some pressure on him, coverage. And some guys just got beat on one-on-one coverage, and their receiving core made some plays on the ball. The biggest thing was just the way we started the football game. And then the halftime came out and played really dominant in the third quarter, took the lead. We were down 19-7, took the lead, just wasn't able to hold on to it in the fourth quarter. They went down, drove the ball down the field, and got the winning touchdown. I think at the end of the day, it's just we got to figure it out. Our guys are not starting games fast. That's been a common trend now for years. So it's like we're not accustomed to it, but each year we got to figure it out. We got to figure it out with this group. We're having slow starts and putting us behind, and then we're having to spend and exert a lot of energy
kind of catch back up in a ball game. We got to figure out how we can play from start to finish.
When you look on paper at your upcoming opponent, you travel to face the Golden Lions. From what you've seen, what stands out about their program?
They stand the course. I think they have a recipe that they're following, and their players are buying into it, and you see it on the field. They execute at a high rate. They fly around on defense. They are very good. They're playing two quarterbacks, and both quarterbacks have a good understanding of their packages. And their receiving core is one of the top receiving cores in the conference. They got some playmakers. And now that they have the running backs back, last year was an injury year for them. They were a very young football team. You can see that they done had a great off season. They're getting better. They're playing with a lot of energy, and they're going to be at home. And we're on the road again, so it's going to be another tough environment going against a very good football team. It's our conference opener. They've already played in the conference, so they're a confident group right now, and it's going to be a tall order to go in there and try to get a win because Coach Thomas had his football team playing really well.
Coach Odoms, this is Jim Klein-Peter with the Advocate. Did you find anything specific that was going on with Ladarius? It looked like he got off kind of to a slow start, and maybe FAMU defensed him a little better than you thought they might.
We missed some throws, missed some reads. I mean, that's really what it boiled down to, the slow start. It was some plays there to be made, but it's the same thing happened the first game of the season. It's just that got to be locked in, and you got to execute. The quarterback got to play well in order for the offense to have some consistency. When the quarterback position doesn't play well, it's kind of hard to be productive on offense. And when you come back and look at the film, we got receivers open, and we got to deliver the ball. And the O-line protected very well. We had time. It's just going the right places with the ball, or we on the right progression. Those are the things that we just got to lock in and get better at, because when 12 comes in the game, you see that it's a big difference. He gets us moving, and our offense is hard to stop. Tree don't play well, Jim. It's kind of tough for us.
Are you considering making a change there as far as starting the game maybe with Bubba instead of Ladarius?
We hadn't considered a change. We're 1-3, so we're at the table for discussion. And we're just trying to figure out who's going to give us the best chance to win football games by playing at the expectations that we expect them to play at. And I don't think it's difference in the two. I think it's in the preparation. You got to prepare yourself to be a consistent quarterback. And if you're going to prepare yourself the right way, then you got a chance to be successful. If you don't, you're going to make it hard on everybody. And what's happening, we got to figure out what's going to be the best route and figure out who's going to be the best guy. As of the day, we had made no changes. We'll sit down as a staff and continue to evaluate our program and figure out who's going to give us the best chance to win football games, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Do you have any concerns with the way the defense played going forward, or was that just a really good quarterback who was on that night?
Well, they took advantage of some things in the passing game. We weren't able to a lot of pressure on the quarterback. They had some receivers that they made some really good catches. A couple of times we had coverage there, and they was able to put the ball in. But this thing is, you got to be competitive. I mean, we got to challenge receivers, and not you go see the same thing, because we got a talented receiving core we go play against this week. Like I tell our guys on defense, stop the run. He can fix the passing issues, but we got to stop the run. And if you do that, you're going to give yourself a chance to win the football game. And we had a chance to win the football game, as bad as we played on pass defense. But we challenge our guys to get better, and we'll regroup and know what time it is. And we need to play much, much better in order to have a chance against UAPB.
It looked like Joe Davis had a pretty good game for you on defense. Can you talk a little bit about his development and the way he played Saturday night?
He came to play like we expect a lot of other guys to play. but he carried out his mission. He was Defensive Player of the Week for us, and Joe getting better. Now he got to turn it up. It's conference time. And as it go, everything on defense starts our defensive line, and Joe's one of those guys that can be a handful. He's big, he's tall, he's strong, and he's a very good football player. It's time to turn it up and go to another level with it, and he's capable of doing that.
Coach, looking at you guys' numbers from Florida A&M, Washington with five catches over 100 yards, over 20 yards a catch. Can you talk a little bit about his play and what was working that connection?
A couple good throws in there. I mean, he was open, and he's one of our good guys, and he came and he played well. Been waiting on somebody to have a breakout game in that receiving core. We missed some balls in that game. We missed some throws where we had some guys open to make some plays. But at the end of the day, I thought Jamar Washington, he blocked well. He caught the ball well, and he ran the ball after the catch. So it gave us a chance, to really get back in the game because he produced for us. And that's what it's all about, is getting guys out there that's going to be able to produce. He's one of those guys that had a really good, decent day for us at wide receiver.
Coach, looking across the field to Arkansas Pine Bluff's receiving core, one of the guys that has stuck out has been the play of Harry Ballard. They even mixed it up this week. I think he had a rush for a score against Tennessee State. But what have you seen from what they do with him on film?
He's everywhere. I mean, he's a football player. He's a very good football player. You go challenge him. Leave the ball belong to him. Wherever it's at, capable of going to get it. He's a big play receiver for him. Look like he's the heartbeat of the team when it comes to energy. He brings a lot of energy, a lot of passion. He's just one of those typical type of receivers we see in the SWAC. Big guy, size, and good athletic ability. Run great routes. And the biggest thing I think that separates him is that he wants the football. When you want the football and it comes to you, he does a lot of great things when he gets it in his hands. And he's somebody he doesn't know where he's at on the field because I'm quite sure they know where he's at and go get his touches. And he's a guy that is one of the good ones on that receiving core, which they have many other guys that are very good on that wide receiver core.
Coach, this is Jim Kleinpeter again. Talk a little bit about Taylor Porter. I guess you saw a little bit of him last year, and looks like he's off to another good start.
Well, I really think that's a position that they do a great job in. I think they got that two-headed monster. I think that's number 2 and number 8 back there this year, and those guys do a really decent job. And I really think they're a good running team, and I think their offense is very special. They got 2 quarterbacks that don't miss a beat, got good receivers, good backs. So the biggest thing is just making sure you fit your gaps and be solid in your eye discipline because at the end of the day, they go challenge you. And they're off to a great start and playing with a lot of confidence, and mainly because of those 2 guys you just mentioned.
Coach, last question for me. From a preparation standpoint, how hard is it for you guys defensively to prepare for a team that you know is gonna use 2 quarterback system?
Well, I mean, the thing is you got to watch film and study and see what they're doing and how they're going about doing it. But they're 2 guys that are similar in style and really don't change their playbook a whole lot when it comes to whichever quarterback is in the game. They both have an understanding of their packages and the plays that they're going to run while they're in there. It's just like it's no letdown. They come in, that guy comes in, he runs his plays. The other guy come in, he runs his plays, and they're really the same plays. It's just 2 guys. I mean, I think coaches realize that I got 2 good quarterbacks that can help us win football games, and they don't figure out a way to use 2 quarterbacks to their football team in a successful position to win football games.
Coach Odom, as always, we really appreciate your time on the call, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week.
All right, thank you. Go Jags.
Now move to our final call of the day. We'll be joined by Texas Southern head coach Clarence Mckinney last week. Tigers had a bye week. This week they will be in action at Houston Baptist. Do we have Coach Mckinney on the line?
Coach McKinney's here.
Hey, good morning, Coach. Coach, if you could please just kind of recap you guys' bye week last week and preview your matchup against HBU.
Coming off a bye week, we took advantage of a much-needed bye week to let some guys heal up, get a little rest, and prepare for this meeting versus Houston Baptist. Houston Baptist really gotten it going. I think they're 3-1, up a lot of points, averaging almost 50 points a game. Got our work cut out for us, but we're up for the challenge.
Good morning, Coach. This is Mike Prince with the Open Mic. How are you this morning?
How's it going, Mike?
All right, going good. When I look at the stat chart for HBU, couldn't get more even than 266 rushing, 266 passing. How do you prepare yourself with this off week, this extra time you had to prepare for the attack that they'll try and impose on you guys on Saturday?
Definitely a balanced attack. I think you got to start stopping the run, making those guys one-dimensional. And if we can stop the run, make them one-dimensional, and I think that'll give us a better chance to be successful.
Now, you talked about discovering some new guys to add to the rotation with this bye week that you had. Have you had a chance to accelerate the learning curve where they can be an impactful piece for you on Saturday?
Yeah, most definitely. Gotten a bit of reps mentally and physically for the guys that are going to be new to the rotation. We're excited about those guys with some reps off. Fresh guy out there for most of the game.
Now, we talked about what HBU is bringing to the table. What will the Tigers have to bring to the table in order to pull out, as I told you last week, our last hope for the Southwestern Athletic Conference over the Southland Conference this year?
It's a tall task. HBU is playing really well right now. We have to run the ball. Just like we talked about stopping the run, we have to be able to run the ball. Control some possessions, keep their high-powered offense off the field. When we get out on the field defensively, we got to win on third down.
Okay, Coach. Well, we'll be pulling for you on this weekend. Good luck, and try to come back with that win, sir.
Coach McKinney, just kind of a general question. Through first 4 weeks of play here in the conference, what are some of your biggest takeaways from what you've seen, not necessarily just with Texas Southern, but from the conference as a whole?
Looking at the conference, there are a lot of really good ball throughout the conference. I think it's a balanced league. There's a couple guys, Alcorn, Southern at the top, but I think everyone else is pretty balanced, and I think the league's wide open.
McKinney, as always, we appreciate your time on the call, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week.
Thank you for having me.
This will conclude this week's teleconference. We look forward to speaking with everyone again on September 30th. Thank you.
The voice of student athletics, the Open Mic Broadcast Network.